don't do that, my own skin. Oh my god. So I like Bill O'Reilly a lot. Like, I think he's smart. He was a history teacher, and he's very well informed, and he writes a lot of good books. But every time he talks about Joe Biden, he's like the second worst president in American history. And I was like, chillax, Bill. Okay. So it's easy to say, like, Biden wasn't the greatest president, okay? But how did we get Biden? Let's reflect. How did we get President Biden? How did we get Vice President Kamala Harris? Did we forget what happened at the end of Trump's presidency? There was this thing that happened called COVID. Trump politicized COVID like a dumb fuck, and he ruined everything. All he had to do was just be coy, all right? All he had to do was not lie. All he had to do was not politicize mass. All he had to do was not make people feel like pussies for just trying to... It was new to everybody. It was new to the doctors. It was new to the scientists. It was new to all the politicians. It was new. Fuck China. Okay? But because of Trump, we got Biden. Oh my god. I think that's fair to say. If he handled COVID better, we would have never gotten Joe Biden. We would have never gotten Kamala Harris. We would have never got that terrible withdrawal from Afghanistan. We would have never gotten that terrible economy. We would have never gotten that crazy immigration crisis. It was because Trump was an imbecile during COVID. And America was like, and then, don't even get me started, how he told his base and he made people feel very skeptical about mail-in voting. He lost the election by shooting himself in his foot. I look wrecked. Like, I shaved and I look so tired. And I got 6.5 hours of sleep. That's pretty good. But it's too much swimming and I'm outside way too much. I think I'm gonna have to get like a really, really like 5-layer peel on my face when the weather cools off, because there's too much happening. Like, what is this? Like this? I have this mark on my forehead because at my old house, I lived on a really severe slope and all of the water was hitting the foundation every time it rained, and I was trying to level up the slope, and I was like, bent over like this. And part of the reason I got 100% disability from the military is because my lower back is like fucked from lifting B-52 tires, because I was a tire monitor for a couple years when I worked at Flight Service Center. So I'm fucking trying to level out underneath my foundation, and I go up too fast and I fucking hit the deck and I have this giant scar in the middle of my forehead. It fucking makes me look Muslim. That was fucked. Okay. So back to Bill O'Reilly, and he's always calling Biden the second worst president in American history. I was like, Bill, did we forget about George W. Bush? All right, Bush Jr.? His complicity at the beginning of his presidency, because they had been planning, like, 9/11, since the 80s. Not the government. I'm not, like, a conspiracy theorist. But everybody who, like, did it. The masterminds. Planes into buildings. Who would have thought? They'd been planning it since the 80s, but we had the intelligence, or they did, and they knew they were planning something crazy. But he was on his ranch in Texas for so much of the beginning of his presidency. His complicity in not being there for, like, the intelligence briefings, I really believe that his complicity at the beginning of his presidency caused 9/11 to happen. I firmly believe that. I think George Bush, his administration, Vice President Dick Cheney. So I've never taken, like, of course, Trump isn't perfect, and I'm sure some of the lawsuits and the government going after him are, like, I'm sure there's truth to a lot of what happens. But my whole thing is, like, we're just going to skate over what happened under Bush? We're just going to skate over Obama dropping drone strikes on innocent civilians and children overseas? Like, we're just going to skate over that? I mean, there's so much shady shit that presidents do, and then it was like, Trump touched a woman. I'm like, yeah, that's not good. But I'm like, how many people did Obama kill? How many people did Obama deport? How many people died when Bush was president because we invaded the wrong country? And then we stayed in Afghanistan for 20 fucking years. And you're telling me Trump's bad? Trump's evil? Really? How Reagan essentially ignored AIDS because it was a homosexual disease? Seriously? And we're gonna talk about how bad Trump is? Give me a motherfucking break. Don't give me, I will get so emotional talking about the AIDS crisis because my uncle, he did not die of AIDS, but he got AIDS when the gays got AIDS a lot in the 80s. And so many of his friends died. It makes me so emotional to talk about this. It took fucking queens, it took mothers, it took Elizabeth Taylor, it took Princess Diana to hug these sick individuals and say, they need us. They are sick. There is something going on here. Love them, care for them. They are sick, they are ill, they need us. And Reagan's administration was fucking ostracizing the gay community because they're homosexuals, sodomites. Fuck you, Reagan. God, and the fucking conservatives are like, Reagan. God fucking bastard faggot. I digress. So no, I don't think Biden was the second worst president in American history. I think he was a result from Trump's incompetence during COVID. Trump's incompetence talking about his skepticism towards mail-in voting to his base. And he scared them away. So if you look at the election results, Biden won mail-in voting in a landslide. So we get Biden. Elections have consequences. What you do during your presidency has consequences. And the American people, they sit and they're like, do we want 4 more years of this? And in 2020, America said no. So they elected Biden. Very simple. I don't think it's all that complicated. Then don't even get me started on Trump and January 6th. January 6th was because he was a fucking sore loser. All right? I'm not going to say, oh, he incited an insurrection. But when he lost and he had the legal right to challenge those results the way he did, and they were put in front of judges he appointed. It was the most conservative judicial system in decades under Trump. Supreme Court justices, judges all over the United States that he appointed. And they said, Trump, you lost fair and square. And he was such a sore loser that January 6th happened. It's so simple. But the American people were so fed up with what happened under Biden, they were like, you know what? Maybe Trump wasn't that bad. So they said, come here. Now we have Trump again. And my investments are doing great. Thanks, Daddy. Okay, Bill O'Reilly has me so stressed because every time I watch him, and I was just bitching about how I look and that I have bags under my eyes and I look disheveled. I listen to Bill O'Reilly before I go to bed. And I know it's a dumb choice, and that's my fault. But he has me so disheveled right now that I'm eating the nuts that I've left out for the chipmunks and squirrels. And it just has me thinking, like, elections are a result of how people are feeling at the time. And that's why we go from one president to another. For example, when Obama was running for president, remember how he was like, there's not a red America. There's not a blue America. There's the United States of America. He promised hope. He promised change. Nothing hoped and nothing changed while he was president. So, Trump demolished the Republican field like he would a building filled with immigrants and blacks. I'm just kidding. Don't make me say it. I love Trump. He's funny. But Trump was the result of how Americans were feeling at the time. They just felt forgotten. They felt lost. A lot of people that voted for Obama twice voted for Trump. Ohio went blue, blue, Trump. Florida went blue, blue, Trump. Okay? So America didn't just turn racist. They were just fed up with how things were. And that's why we got Trump. We got Biden because America didn't like how Trump handled COVID. Okay? It's all very simple. But no. Bill O'Reilly, you have me out here eating squirrel and chipmunk nuts. I made them a snack plate that I'm feasting on. Bill O'Reilly, you're smart. You know that Joe Biden is not the second worst president in United States history. George Bush literally was at the helm when we attacked the wrong country, when there was zero intelligence that that country, Iraq, had weapons of mass destruction. How many innocent people died? Remember the economy and the housing crisis? The banks getting shut down? Bernie Madoff? That happened under Bush. One good thing that happened under Bush, though, is my parents got a farm for the really cheap. Like 50% off. And now it's worth triple. But they gotta thank Daddy Trump for that. They gotta thank Daddy Trump for that. I want my mom to say one good thing about Trump. Oh my God. And the other thing nobody talks about is I had the pleasure of serving under Obama and Trump when I was in the military, okay? Nobody bitched about Obama. Like, nobody was like, oh, that, and, you know, nobody called him any bad slangs or bad terms. But when Trump was running for president, the morale, I make jokes about, like, the straights with their dicks out for Harambe. When I tell you the straights were so riled up, black, white, Latino, whatever, the guys in the uniform, the straights, were so excited about Daddy Trump when he was running for president. When he became president, not only were their dicks out, they were, like, jizzing on each other. They were so excited all the time. And I was here for it. So if I liked Trump, it was because the straights were out and wild. Remember, like, Girls Gone Wild? It was straights gone wild. Straight boys gone wild under Trump. And that's why I gave him a fighting chance. And I get it. He said some racist shit. He did some crazy shit. He grabbed women by their shit. And I was like, but the straights are like... And I was getting excited. And it was helping my mental health out. And I wasn't a suicidal. So people like Trump for different reasons, okay? Don't come at me